Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn is an initiatory society devoted to spiritual, philosophical, and magical development. The ideas studied by the Golden Dawn initiates are a unique combination of Jewish Kabbalah, ancient Egyptian and Greek mysteries, several strands of Christianity, and many other Western esoteric traditions. The Golden Dawn was founded in 1887 by three British Freemasons, Mathers, Woodman, and Westcott, and it admitted hundreds of men and women over the next several decades. The original Golden Dawn generated a body of esoteric knowledge about ceremonial magic, divination, alchemy, and philosophy that is unparalleled to this day. The Golden Dawn has been a profound influence on the lives of artists, musicians, and writers. The society contains a great deal of Masonically derived symbolism, but has no supposed formal connection with Freemasonry or any of its appendant bodies. Some famous members include the occultist Aleister Crowley, Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula, which was based on Vlad the Impaler, member of the Brotherhood of the Dragon, Arthur Edward Waite, writer and creator of the A.E. Waite Tarot Deck, the poet W.B. Yeats, and the prophetic author Jules Verne, who wrote several science fiction books that actually foretold some future scientific achievements in the study of marine technology and aerospace. One of his most popular books was Journey to the Center of the Earth. Written in the 1800s, the book covers the topic of reptilians and dinosaurs living within the inner Earth. He actually used the real-life research of major hollow Earth proponents from his era and earlier back. The popular science context in which Verne wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth included notions of a hollow Earth consisting of inner spheres nested within each other and open at the poles. This idea was originally proposed by Edmund Halley in 1692 and again, closer to Verne's own time, by the American John Cleave Sims of the U.S. Infantry. The narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym also explores these ideas in fiction. Verne was writing this work at the same time that Darwin's Origin of Species was being published in French translation. Instead of evolution, the primary debate of the day involved the antiquity of the world, the geological record versus a literist interpretation of Hebrew scripture. Hollow Earth theory always seems to propose a central sun and mythical subterranean cities and civilizations that some believe could link science and pseudoscience if physically discovered. According to the Hollow Earth hypothesis, planet Earth is either completely hollow or otherwise contains a substantial interior space. For the most part, the scientific community has dismissed the notion since at least the late 18th century. The concept of a hollow Earth is seen heavily in the folklore of many cultures. There are supposedly races that exist in subterranean cities beneath the planet Earth. As it goes, the dwellers of the world beneath are more technologically advanced than those on the surface. Some believe that UFOs are not from other planets, but are manufactured by strange beings in the interior of the Earth. The strange occurrence of UFOs often being seen over bodies of water or of actually coming out of lakes and oceans also contributes to that theory. In ancient times, the idea of subterranean realms seemed arguable and became intertwined with the concept of places, such as the Greek Hades, the Nordic Svartalfheim, the Christian Hell, and the Jewish Sheol, with details describing the inner earth in Kabbalistic literature, such as the Zohar and other books. In 1692, Edmund Halley put forth the idea of the Earth consisting of a hollow shell about 500 miles thick, two inner concentric shells, and an innermost core, about the diameters of the planets Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Atmospheres separate these shells, and each shell has its own magnetic poles. The spheres rotate at different speeds. Halley proposed this scheme in order to explain anomalous compass readings. He envisioned the atmosphere inside as luminous and possibly inhabited. He speculated that escaping gas caused the aurora borealis. In the late 18th century, Leonard Euler also proposed a hollow Earth idea, getting rid of multiple shells and postulating an interior sun 600 miles across to provide light to advanced inner Earth civilization. Sir John Leslie expanded on Euler's idea, suggesting two central suns named Pluto and Proserpine. This was unrelated to the former planet Pluto, which was discovered and named sometime later. Leslie did propose a hollow Earth in his 1829 book, Elements of Natural Philosophy. In 1818, Captain John Cleave Sims suggested that the Earth consisted of a hollow shell about 800 miles thick, with openings about 1,400 miles across at both poles, with 4 inner shells, each open at the poles. Sims became the most famous of the early hollow Earth proponents. He proposed making an expedition to the North Pole thanks to the efforts of one of his followers, James McBride, but the new President of the United States, Andrew Jackson, halted the attempt. Jeremiah Reynolds also delivered lectures on the hollow earth and argued for an expedition. Reynolds went on an expedition to Antarctica himself, but missed joining the Great U.S. Exploring Expedition of 1838 to 1842. Though Sims himself never wrote a book about his ideas, several authors published works discussing his ideas. McBride wrote Sims' Theory of Concentric Spheres in 1826. It appears that Reynolds has an article that appeared as a separate book in 1827. The Thule Society, which was well known by Adolf Hitler, reported much about Tibetan myths of openings into the earth. There is even a theory that Hitler ordered an expedition for such an opening in Antarctica, based on a speech of Admiral Dönitz in front of a German submarine in 1944, when he claimed, "The German submarine fleet is proud of having built an invisible fortification for the Führer anywhere in the world." During the Nuremberg trials, Dönitz spoke of an invisible fortification in the midst of eternal ice. As the story goes, Hitler and his followers wanted to create a race of super soldiers, an Aryan race based on the ancient Atlanteans to rule the world. They came to this conclusion through the acceptance of many occult beliefs and practices, including the hollow earth theory. There is a legend which says that Hitler and his chief advisors escaped the last days of the Third Reich by going through the opening at the South Pole, where they discovered an entrance to the Earth's interior. According to the Hollow Earth Research Society in Ontario, Canada, some of them are still there. After the war, the organization claims the Allies discovered that more than 2,000 scientists from Germany and Italy had vanished along with almost 1 million people to the land beyond the South Pole. This story gets more complicated with Nazi-designed UFOs, supposed Nazi collaboration with beings who live in the Earth, and possible explanation for Aryan-looking UFO pilots. In 2005, Stephen Curry Expeditions planned a voyage to the North Pole region to explore for a possible opening to the inner Earth. Brooks Agnew took over as leader after Curry's untimely death in 2006, with the plan of taking 100 scientists and filmmakers to the supposed Arctic opening in 2009. Unfortunately, after several hours of researching whether or not the 2009 expedition was ever carried out, the producers of this film came up empty-handed. They were unable to find information discussing anything more than the announcement of the rescheduling of the expedition in 2006 after Stephen's death. Time pressed, they were too busy to spend more effort looking into it. If anyone has new information about this, please let us know. Marshall Gardner wrote A Journey to the Earth's Interior in 1913. He placed an interior sun in the hollow Earth. He even built a working model of the hollow Earth and patented it. Gardner also took Captain John Cleves Sims to task for his ideas. In the same time, Vladimir Obruchev wrote a fiction novel called Plutonia, where the hollow Earth's interior possesses an inner sun and was inhabited by a prehistoric species. The interior was connected with the surface by a hole in the Arctic Circle. Other writers have proposed that reptilian entities and ascended masters of esoteric wisdom inhabit subterranean caverns or a hollow Earth. Antarctica, the North Pole, Tibet, Peru, and Mount Shasta in California have all had their advocates as the locations of entrances to the subterranean realm referred to as Agartha, with some even advancing the hypothesis that UFOs have their homeland in these places. In 1964, Raymond W. Bernard, an esoterist and leader of the Rosicrucians, published the lengthy titled Hollow Earth, the greatest geographical discovery in history made by Admiral Richard E. Byrd in the mysterious land beyond the poles, the true origin of the flying saucers. Bernard tells stories about the people who have entered the inner Earth and what has happened to them. It mentions a photograph published in 1960 in the Globe and Mail in Toronto, Canada, which shows a beautiful valley with lush hills. An aviator claimed that he had taken the picture while flying into the North Pole. In his book, Letters from Nowhere, Bernard claims to have been in contact with great mystics and great ashrams, and with Grand Lamas in Tibet. Dr. Bernard died of pneumonia on September 10, 1965, while searching the tunnel openings to the interior of the Earth in South America. Bernard seems to have accepted every legend ever associated with the Hollow Earth idea, including the notions that the Eskimos originated within the Earth and an advanced civilization dwells within even now, revving up their UFOs for occasional forays into thin air. Bernard even accepts without question the artist Richard Cheever's claim that he learned the secret of relativity before Einstein from the Hollow Earth people, of which we'll cover more shortly.